The other day I was streaming a bunch of horror games over on my Twitch channel, and I stumbled upon a game that really surprised me with how spooky it actually was. Now, what initially caught my attention was this image right here. The game has a couple covers and it all looks spooky and really cool, but this cover in particular reminded me of that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where he's opening a bunch of doors. I think he's in a hotel, and there's this little girl playing a violin, and she turns around and she's all claymation and terrifying. You start the game off as a little girl waking up in her bed. Her name is Tabby, and she lives with her mother, her father, and her sister. And you're walking around this house with no direction, really. Your mother's making some sandwiches. Your sister's just waking up to start her day. Not too long after you wake up, some spooky things start happening. You start seeing apparitions. You see your creepy neighbor. Maybe she'll poke her head through the window, and it's really long and terrifying, and it doesn't make any sense, but you're like, all right, well, I guess it's a horror game. You then walk into the kitchen to find your mother, who has slipped and fallen into the sandwich, and let's just say she's taking a big nap. And then you go try to find your sister. You find out she was crushed by a chandelier in the other room, and she also is taking a big nap. So now you're running around this house with a bunch of sleeping people chasing you, trying to survive, until eventually they hug you and you fall asleep too. After the game over, your character will wake up in her bed again, except this time, she'll remember what happened, and you realize you're actually in a time loop, trying to save your family from whatever horrific things are happening. Given the time loop nature of this game, it's very much all about experimentation and trial and error. You will be dying again and again and again, trying to save your family, trying to maybe send them away, because they could be evil. Who knows? You got to play the game to figure it out. Multiple endings, tons of scary moments that legitimately made me jump, because I was like, what is this? What am I walking into? And being a pixelated game, a lot of the times those don't really get me as a fan of horror, but they did a really good job making a terrifying atmosphere. I would find most of the puzzles to be pretty fair. A couple of them were a little more cryptic or weren't explained properly enough. Maybe there was a way to figure it out and I'm just stupid and I missed it, but just be aware, if you like puzzles, that's the whole game. There's a little bit of combat, but it's mostly just a solution to a puzzle that requires you to like swing an axe or something. There's a lot of secrets, Easter eggs, hidden things that just make it really fun to explore this haunted house of doom. If you're looking for something a little more unique, I would highly recommend this. It took me about 5 hours to finish, and that's seeing all the endings. There is, I learned after the fact, that there is more after you beat the game, which is, it was a free update that is kind of like an epilogue, and there's new things to explore, so I gotta go back and do that. And there's also a sequel in the works, so if you really liked it, there's more coming. But yeah, House, highly recommend. Please give it a shot if you like horror, because you're gonna have nightmares after, just like I do, every day.